Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Daily Crow. I'm Chris Phillips of the Spurs Up Show coming to you live. We're going to talk about the Gamecocks running backs today. South Carolina coming into 2019, similar to the last couple of years, looking for that number one running back. Going to break down the running back position. All of those guys there obviously give my most approved, best overall a grade for the unit. Before we get into all that, there's a broadcast from you by our friends over at SeatGeek. SeatGeek, the best ticket buying app by far, the only ticket buying app I use. You guys have heard me talk about them a bunch. It's time to start buying your Gamecocks football tickets. Go to SeatGeek, download the SeatGeek app, or go to SeatGeek.com. Use our promo code SPURSUP. You're going to save $10 off your first purchase. Again, they've got tickets to literally anything and everything, every single Gamecocks football game, sporting event, if you will, MLB, NHL, NBA, NFL's coming up. But it's definitely time to start buying your Gamecocks football tickets. So go download SeatGeek, go to SeatGeek.com, use the promo code SPURSUP. They actually rate the tickets for you based on a ticket rating system, so they make it super simple, super easy for you. You know exactly what you're getting, what you're paying for. You know if you're getting a steal, you know if you're getting ripped off a little bit. So you have peace of mind before you click the buy button to know you're getting the best possible deal available. It's really that simple. So again, download SeatGeek, go to SeatGeek.com, use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, to save $10 off your first purchase. All right, like I said, going to jump into it. I want to talk about the Gamecocks running backs, a position of intrigue, obviously, because South Carolina, it's been a huge question mark the last couple of years. Let's take a look back first at 2018 before we break down the guys this year. Looking back at last year, Rico Dowell, the leading rusher for the Gamecocks, 123 carries, 654 yards. Had a 5.3 yards per carry average with 4 touchdowns. From there, beyond him and really including him, it was a crowded backfield. They had Rico Dowell, Mon Denson, Tyson Williams, A.J. Turner, Deshaun Fenwick all getting carries. Dowdle and Tyson Williams tying for the lead in touchdowns with 4 apiece. But overall, it was inconsistency all season long. Every single guy, I feel like, had some bit of flashes, whether it was Rico, Mon, Tyson, even A.J. Turner, even Deshaun Fenwick in the UT Chattanooga game. There were guys that had moments where you thought maybe South Carolina was going to be able to really find something, and it really just never panned out. Rico Dowell battled injuries, inconsistent play. I thought Mon Denson was probably your most consistent back a year ago, but I'll be honest, I don't think that Mon Denson is a premier back in the SEC. Obviously, we know what happened with Tyson Williams. He eventually transfers out this spring. Could never really just get it figured out. A.J. Turner's now playing both ways, so that tells you how the running back experience has gone for him. And then Deshaun Fenwick, a guy that I thought looked good last year. Let's meet the running backs for 2019. Obviously, Rico Dowdle, Mon Denson, and A.J. Turner, all seniors back this year. You've got Deshaun Fenwick, who returns as a redshirt freshman. And then Kevin Harris, another freshman, is in. Caleb Kinlaw, the senior, comes back for another year. And Levante Valentine, a freshman as well. Obviously, the one guy I'm not mentioning right now, who I'm not going to mention, who I have a ton of listener questions or a ton of questions to get to about, is Tavian Feaster. We all know that's the wild card. Fully expect him to decide or announce over the next week and a half. But you would think before fall practice begins. But that's the wild card. But that's who South Carolina has going right now. So Dowdle, Denson, Turner, Fenwick, Harris, Kinlaw, and Valentine are your running backs. So very crowded backfield once again. To me, the most to prove out of this group, I went back and forth on this one because I think they've all got a lot to prove because nobody's stepped up really. But the one that's most proved to me is Deshaun Fenwick, the redshirt freshman. I thought he was explosive in his only appearance last year for USC. Looked really, really good in the UT Chattanooga game, in my opinion. He was criticized by Thomas Brown this spring for being just too inconsistent. Obviously, Thomas Brown, new running backs coach, is another wild card for this position group. How is his hiring going to impact what these guys do and the productivity? Because that was something that he came in and addressed immediately. The running backs simply were not good enough. They were not productive enough. And Thomas Brown's a guy that wants to have one, maybe 2 premier running backs, and that's about it. I don't think we're going to see quite as much changing of that guard, if you will, the running back position, 3-4 guys playing in a game. I think he wants to kind of shrink that down and have guys he can depend on. But to me, Deshaun Fenwick, a guy that I thought really could use this spring, this summer, and take advantage and maybe be the Gamecocks starting running back. But he was criticized by Thomas Brown for not being consistent enough. To me, he has the tools to be a premier back. Will he ever step up to the plate and be that? Who knows? But the Gamecocks certainly need him to be that. So Deshaun Fenwick, for me, is the one that I'm looking at as the most to prove coming into this season. Best overall, I still think you have to give the nod to Rico Dowell. It's funny, I was looking at this that I did last year, and Rico Dowell again. It was very similar going up and down the list in regards to the points I was making, the things I was saying, because the running back position simply has just been an issue. So to me, you can't not say that Rico Dowell is the best right now. I think he's still probably the most capable. It's a make or break year for Rico Dowell. He knows that. We know that. The coaching staff knows that. He's shown flashes. I mean, it's a guy that we saw him. Gamecock fans watched him as a freshman in 2016. I think rushed for 750 or plus, right at 700 plus yards in 6 games. But he's just never filled the potential after that. And it's been for a lot of different things. Just being inconsistent is one. Injuries have really hampered him. And that's something Will Muschamp talked about last week at SEC Media Days, that he has just been hampered by injuries constantly. To me, the question for him simply is, has the book been written on Rico Dowell, or is there more left? Is there something we haven't seen that's going to come out? Because there's some guys that eventually you keep waiting on them to break out, and you say they have potential, but at some point it's just that's who they are. And I don't want to believe that Rico Dowell is just who we've seen, because again, we've seen him play at a high level. We've seen him break through and make guys look silly, and his freshman year. So you have to wonder, will that ever come back? Will he ever get back to that freshman year form, or is Rico Dowell who we think he is right now, which is an inconsistent player that every now and then will give you some good carries, give you some good runs, but is extremely inconsistent. To me, now these are lofty expectations from me, but to me the season will be successful for the running back group if USC has a 1,000-yard rusher. I know that's high expectations. The Gamecocks haven't had one since 2013 when Mike Davis did it. And it's funny, I was looking, he actually missed it in 2014 by 18 yards. But the Gamecocks haven't had it done in 6 years. The Gamecocks need a running game. They absolutely need a running game to step up. I think you've got to raise the expectations. So to me, that's why I'm saying the season will be successful if they get a 1,000-yard rusher. A number one back just has to emerge. Whether that is a Tavian Feaster, whether Rico Dowell finally is healthy and stays healthy and can be consistent, there's just no excuse. Because in my opinion, last year especially, the offensive line was good enough. The offensive line is blocked well enough. The offensive line, I expect, will be good enough once again. But can the Gamecocks finally find that number one guy? And again, he may not be on campus yet. But they need a 1,000-yard rusher. I mean, I know that's high expectations, but you've got to raise the level of expectations for this group. I mean, again, Rico Dowell rushed for 654 yards a year ago. I don't see why he can't get another 400. I don't see why, if he stays healthy, he can't be that guy. The offense, and I think especially with the new philosophies with Thomas Brown, what he's implementing, they're not going to be spreading the ball around to 3, 4, 5 different guys. It's going to be much more your RB1, your RB2. RB1's getting 20 to 25 carries. RB2's getting 10 to 15. Is at least what I'm hoping, and that's what I'm thinking may happen. So, so for me, I want to see a 1,000-yard rusher this year. Overall grade of the running backs right now, it's harsh, but I'm giving them a D. I gave them a C+ last year. The running backs were not good. I don't think you need to sugarcoat it. This is a position of weakness for South Carolina right now. Just going off of what we know. Again, Rico Dowell may be this dude that comes out and reverts back to his freshman year form, and I may be sleeping on Deshaun Fenwick's productivity right now, or maybe sleeping on A.J. Turner, but listen, right now, this running back group is just not good. It's inconsistent. There aren't guys that make plays. There aren't guys that make tackles. There aren't guys that hit the hole. It's just not there. They're not consistent. I mean, there's a reason South Carolina's courting a guy to come in and be their number one running back. So right now, to me, I'd give the overall grade of the running backs a D. Again, harsh, I know, but it is what it is. They just haven't been good. Let's get to some listener questions. Got some good questions. If you ever want to leave listener questions for the Daily Crow, Instagram is where I take all the questions. We'll start with JGray0911, or JGray0911. If Tank and Lloyd come, who will start next year after all our seniors leave? I think it's a good question. So he's saying if we get Marshawn Lloyd and Tank Bigsby, I think Marshawn Lloyd will be your feature back, assuming they get both, obviously. Marshawn Lloyd will be your feature back, and I think Tank Bigsby will be a 1-2 punch. I think it will be a great 1-2 punch. I think it's pivotal for South Carolina to hold on to Lloyd and get Tank. I think we all know that. D Nelson _0, Rico or Feaster? I mean, I think if Feaster's on campus, Feaster's your automatic number one running back. Cut of Gentlemen, do you think Mon Denson should get the majority of carries? That's a great point and a great question, simply because, like I said, I think Mon Denson was the most consistent guy a year ago, and I don't think it's debatable. I think Rico Dowell has more upside. I think there's a lot of guys on the roster that have more upside, but simply put, Mon Denson is a more consistent back. When you put the ball in his hand, you know exactly what you're going to get out of Mon Denson. So to me, should he get the majority of the carries? I don't see. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't hate it. I really wouldn't, because again, at least I know what he's going to give me. He's going to give me a hard run. He's going to try to run somebody over. At least you know what to expect out of the guy. Ethan Crocker, who's the most important running back that is considering us right now? Well, right now I'd say it's Tavian Feaster, because he has the most immediate impact for South Carolina. I mean, he's probably not the best, and as far as long-term impact, Lloyd and Tank, like I talked about, but right now, the most important guy right now to focus on for running backs that could potentially come to South Carolina, Tavian Feaster 100%, because he directly impacts the 2019 season. Jay Spencer, too. What is your gut feeling on where Tavian Feaster ultimately decides to go? I've said for the longest time, I think he's a Gamecock. So we'll see. Soulless _SVT. Obviously, we have to focus on producing a running game. Who do you think gives us the best chance? Again, Feaster, I think he's not on campus yet, but I think Tavian Feaster gives you that best chance. If not him, I do think Rico Dowell. I think he has the most upside of anybody. G. Neesmith 90. What can we expect to see out of Kevin Harris this season? That's a great question. He's another wild card. I know fans are very, very excited about Kevin Harris this year. I mean, he's looked great in practice. It's asking a lot to me to ask a freshman running back to make a major impact in an offense where he has 3 seniors ahead of him. Even if you want to throw out A.J. Turner, he's got 2 seniors because, again, A.J.'s playing both ways. I don't know how much A.J.'s really going to get snaps at running back. But, no, Kevin Harris got upside. Big bowling ball type guy. When you look at him, honestly, he kind of reminded me of Mike Davis in the spring game. So who knows? I mean, who knows how much they use him? I'd be interested to see if they try to get him in on some goal line packages, stuff like that, because he is such a big bruiser. Could be useful in 3rd and short, 4th and short, goal line situations. But we'll see. I just think this year it's going to be tough for Kevin Harris to make a major impact, unless there's things that I don't know or that we don't know right now, just how good the kid is. And last question, _J Blanc. Is Rico a lock as starter? Also, what's the news on Feaster? I think right now Rico Dowell is your starting running back, no question. Unless Tavian Feaster comes in, which again I've expected him to. But right now Rico Dowell is your starting running back. There's no question in my mind. And again, I think the Gamecocks do get Tavian Feaster. So that's going to do it for me. That's going to do it for the Daily Crow. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't done so, go check out the Spurs Up Show episode 114 with Travian Robertson. Preview the offense, and also that interview is phenomenal. Travian and I, we talked for literally an hour and a half. Really good stuff. We'll be previewing the defense on Thursday's show. I have another very special guest, which I'll announce tomorrow. And we're almost here, 39 days away. It's creeping up. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll talk soon. Thanks so much.